Off you get.
So everybody wants to know how I got my name, and now I'm going to tell you. I was born to upper middle class, first generation parents, and there were two names, Susan or Nancy, and I got Susan. And I knew as soon as I came to language it was not my name. And then I got to school and they said, you can be Susan number 4. And I said, and I tried many names, Alice, Patrice, Zena, but I couldn't change it until I got to junior high. And then because I was a teenager and a smartass, I decided it was going to be Nikki, N-I-K-K-I, for nickname. But then I finally came into the name you just heard, and where did it come from? From my great-grandmother. It was my ceremonial name, and my parents weren't exactly practicing Jews, but you get the name of somebody who has passed away. And when I heard that name, Nahama, I said, that's my name. Now, my African-American dance teacher, Donnie McHale, said, nobody can say, you're Neshama. And so I am from that day to this. Look at my birth certificate, Susan Rosenbaum. Look at every other document in my life, Neshama Franklin, my married name, and no one has ever challenged it. So you may wonder how I got that name. And then, you know, Neshima, Neshama, think pajama. That's my mnemonic. That's how I got my name. So, in our town, there is a free box. From the 70s, you drop stuff off you don't want. You pick up stuff that you might need or want or don't need, but it's there. And I am very cheap. And I kind of love stuff, but God knows I don't want to pay for it. And so I have been frequenting this free box for decades, and I kind of organize it, which helps, because when you're digging, you can find stuff. Oh man. And you know what I found about a month ago? The dress of a storyteller's dreams. It was black velvet, a little stretchy. It had suns and moons and stars embroidered in silver. It had lace sleeves with kind of points at the end, and then ruffles down the side with points at the end. It was just a little witchy. And I said, I need that dress. And I took it home and I tried it. I think it was made for a 14-year-old who hadn't quite gotten pubescent yet. And so the neck garroted me, and I said, I can do something about this because I know how to sew. And so I took it off, and then I cut down the neck, preserving the beautiful embroidery. I could breathe. And then I separated the top and the bottom, you know, leaving room to breathe. And I said, this is going to work. The top, you know, will kind of hit right there, and the bottom will kind of hit right there, and I'll just wear something black underneath it, and nobody will know about the gap. Well, when I tried that, I discovered the dress had a life of its own. The top started inching up, and the skirt started inching up. They wanted each other. But I, again, know how to sew. So I had this nice piece of black stretchy fabric, and I got ready to kind of join them with the fabric in the middle, and then I discovered I was out of black thread. Impossible! I mean, I'm a hoarder. I have threads of many color and spools galore, but when you're a sewer and you're out of black thread, you are screwed. And I don't know if you know, in Marin County, Joann's has fled and Michael's has fled. I hated those Emporium, but you could get your thread there. And so I tried, near where I work, the Fairfax Variety store, Variety. What they had was a skiddy spool of many, many colors. I did not need those many, many colors. I tried CVS. I tried Safeway. They got me 2 skinny spools, black and white. I did not need the white, but I shelled out $3.89. And I took it home. I got ready to sew, and then the poltergeist got it, because my life is awash with poltergeists. It happens all the time. And I said, oh my God, what am I going to do now? And then I checked with Dr. Google, who knows everything. And guess what? Somewhere near where I work is something called Spare. And that's where you drop off all that spare stuff, like somebody like me who has, 14 packets of snaps. I mean, who needs them all? All these sewing notions in one space. And so I got my GPS on because I have a terrible sense of direction. I left a half an hour between finding it and work. I parked. I started walking up San Anselmo Avenue looking for 324. The poltergeist had gotten it. And then I got back to the car and I checked and I called Spare. And she said, oh, we're just a couple of blocks over. It's on Sir Francis Drake near the defunct movie theater. And I said, okay, I'm coming. And I said, do you have black thread? And she said, do we have black thread? And so I parked and I hot-footed it up the sidewalk. And there was a woman in front of me walking in the same direction, and she flung open the doors to Spare. She turned at me. She said, I knew you were coming here. And when I burst into the scene, bright and full of notions, the young woman who runs it said, you, the one who wants the black thread? And I said, oh yes. 4 spools of beautiful black thread for $6 in cash. I took them home. I sewed up the dress. I wore the dress. It was fabulous. There's a little coda related to my cheapness, is that when I was looking in the recycling, which is under the table where I put things, the spools had fallen into the recycling. I hauled it out. I found the receipt. I put them together. I went back to Safeway. I got my $3.89 back. And so, triumph. Stories are epics. But and Theseus escaped the Minotaur by following a thread. But I found the black thread to create the dress of my dreams. And I'm going to actually show it to you.
Yay!
Right, I can't show it telling the story because it says it all.